Imagine connecting 15,715 people, working across a range of environments, across a state that spans 656,000 square miles. G'day. I'm Kelly, this is Charmaine, and we're from the Queensland Police Service, Australia, down under. It's our pleasure to be here this afternoon and to share with you all our 18-month journey of how we found the energy in our organisation, how we gave it the right attention, and how we connected the unconnected. So let's take a look. Our people. So 15,000 people made up of sworn and unsworn members. So a sworn member is myself. So I am a police officer. What that means is I went through a police academy. I swore an oath to protect and serve the community of Queensland. We've also made up of unsworn members. Cue Charmaine. It means Charmaine didn't go through a police academy, didn't have to swear an oath of service, but brings to the organisation a wealth of experience, knowledge and skills from many other environments, private, public, government, that we work in partnership together to make Queensland Police the best police service in the world. So with our people, out of the sworn component, there's 63% that are sworn, there's 27% that are unsworn. And they work all over our state of Queensland in varying environments. Let's have a look at that and how that plays out. So here is Australia. Who's been to Australia? Great.
Nice.
Who's been to Queensland? Very good. Who's been to Brisbane? Not you, Tim. Yes, we've got a few. Excellent. Okay, so all of you who haven't, we're soon going to show you some photos. Now, I guarantee it will be on your bucket list. But let's have a look at that. So we are quite very large state in comparison to California. 4 times the size. But have a look at the people. You guys have got a lot of people. 39 million people. 8 times more the number of people that we have. Okay, our coastline, right from the southern point to the northern point, if you were to drive that, it would take you 32 hours. So a day and a bit. That's straight driving through. So it's a long amount of space and area to cover. We have policing scattered all around that geographic location. This is one of our regional officers. Not a lot around them, either side. One of our, jumping. I've got that same problem. Where was our gentleman from this morning? One of our rural areas. So this is one of our stock squad officers. So as you can see, our modes of transport also change. This is one of our Outback Queensland officers. We've all heard of Outback Queensland. Check out that red dirt. It is as red as it is. Glad I don't have to wash the cars out there. And our coastline, our water police. So we saw that coastline all the way down, all the way up, and we have a number of water police officers that look after that area for us. So again, another mode of transport. And the best place of all, our city, Brisbane, where Charmaine and I work and where we both live.
So just a little bit of more context about our organisation and our unit. So this is the vision for our organisation, and that's delivering safe and secure communities through innovation, collaboration and best practice. Our unit commenced about 2 years ago, and this saw a change in our vision. And can you see how front and centre innovation and collaboration is in our vision? So fantastic for a new unit that's about innovation. From a point of view of our innovation definition, we've used something quite broad, and that's deliberately so. So we're looking for incremental change right through to transformational change. And for us, it's doing things differently and better to add value. So from a point of view of strategy development and the innovation strategy for the Queensland Police Service, we focus on 3 specific outcomes, and that's simpler, better and safer. So that's simpler for our frontline officers, better for the bottom line, and safer for all. And the safer for all is not just about our members, but it's about the community that we serve. Now, innovation has been happening for a very long time in the Queensland Police Service. It's not like magically innovation happened because an innovation unit was created. So one of the major priorities for our unit was to make sure that we could understand the really great work that was happening out in the field, find it, harness it, and make sure that we could scale that for the rest of the service. So one of the things that our organisation does really well is we connect well with our community. We focus on things that matter. And just to give you some illustration on that, this is a picture of the Queensland Police Service and our members supporting breast cancer awareness. And this is up in Noosa, absolutely beautiful place in the world to visit.
Must go.
This is some of our officers supporting a global campaign, and this is White Ribbon. And this is about us putting energy and attention into eliminating violence against women. And this last one is really close to our hearts, and that's road safety awareness. And I'm pretty sure most of you have walked near a road or drive a car, potentially. For us, this supports it's part of one of our major strategic objectives for our organisation, and that's making our community safe. So as you can see, our organisation, and as a testament to our frontline officers who are in the field every day with our community, focuses energy and attention externally really well. Well, we wanted also as an organisation to focus internally. So this is some of our officers. Our largest cohort in the organisation are our frontline officers that are out in the field, so we decided we'd start there. What we wanted to do as a unit was enable them. We wanted to understand their perspective. We wanted to know how we could make their job simpler, better and safer.
Oh, sorry.
Both clicking.
So we needed to find the energy. So we started with our people. This is what it was all about, going to them, flipping the model. Rather than tell them what to do, we started to ask them. We were sent out by our executive level. We had senior level support right from day one. They asked us to go out there and ask 2 questions to our frontline staff. What makes your job hard? And how can we make it simpler, better or safer? Now, we were a little bit hesitant going out because we didn't know what we were walking into. Did they want to talk to us? Did they not want to talk to us? Now, we were blown away. We had timelines of where we wanted to get around to a number of different stations. Those timeframes blew out. Honestly, they were like seagulls to hot chips. We walked in and they all just mobbed us. And they just wanted to talk. The energy from those frontline officers would just blow your mind. They wanted to be involved. They wanted to be part of the discussions and the decision making. They had the information, they had the data. So there was our first pot of energy. We knew we had it with our leadership. The strategy had changed. Innovation and collaboration was front and centre. They were on board already. So that was our second pot of energy. Driving from the top, we had it. We knew it was coming from the bottom. We looked in some other spaces to find out if there were any more. We looked for money. We had no money as a unit. We had no budget. We had no seed funding. But we knew there were other units around within our organisation who were well funded, who had money to deliver on products. So for us, that was another source of energy. We needed to focus on that. Before we could really capture that energy, we knew where it was, we wanted to capture it. We needed to understand the environment and make sure that it was right. Think policing, chain of command, rank, very strict hierarchical structure. There's 11 ranks within our organisation. I'm a senior sergeant, I sit right in the middle. So there's 5 ranks below me and another 6 above me to the big boss. So to get an idea up to a decision maker, who generally sits the level above me, 6 layers that these young people had to get through, or anybody had to get through. And as you would well imagine, ideas are fragile. They get chopped off at the knees very easily. And at times, that levelling, that rank structure, can and was stifling innovation. So that was a big issue for us. We needed to understand that and how are we going to work around that. We also knew that as much as I love travelling Queensland, my family doesn't like me being away all the time, we needed to reach out to all of those people, far and wide, to find out what was happening. We needed a platform so they could connect anyone, anywhere, at any time. Thankfully for us, we were introduced to Matt from Idea Scar.
And Tim.
Yep.
And Tim, thank you.
The commencement was Tim, I should say.
Tim,
Yep.
Tim took us through.
We've done a 12-month journey now with Matt, blood, sweat and tears along the way. Many late nights for Matt, early mornings for us with our time zone differences.
We're not going to tell you what time it is in Australia now. We're barely awake.
And we came up with our Idea Scale Idea Management Platform, which we termed ICOP. Ideas connecting our people. We knew where the energy was. We knew the environment. We understood the environment. We now had the platform. We needed to know how we were going to go out there, how we were going to capture that information, and how we were going to get those people to come, to bring their energy to the platform. How are we then going to capture all of that energy, push it through the platform, take it to the people who could give it the right attention to achieve outcomes to get to our end goal, which was a benefit for our people, an improvement of some sort, something that made their jobs simpler, something that they would allow them to go to work each day and not be frustrated by simple things. And then the opportunity to use their bright minds to connect our 5 generations of policing with the young minds, the experienced minds, bring them together for great results overall for the whole organisation. Our journey began. We had to design our system. We were very deliberate in this approach. We knew we wanted it for the people at the lowest possible ranks, but we also wanted invites to every single rank in our organisation to be on the system. So we decided on 2 distinct places. Our first place we called our idea exchange. So that allowed anyone, anywhere around the state to submit a new idea, to ask a question, or to share knowledge. We also wanted to have a space where we could run more focused challenges. Now, how we do our challenges, or campaigns if you like, how I've heard it coined today, we would either take an idea that was generated in the idea exchange that was topical, was really getting a lot of energy and a lot of information. At times we would pull that out and put it in to a challenge with the business owner or sponsor, so we could really do a deeper dive. We could unpack what were the true problems or the true issues, the true opportunities that were being discussed. We also wanted a space for anyone else in the organisation who was a business owner or a sponsor who could come to us and say, hey, I want to really run a focused group discussion on this particular topic. So we ran with 2 spaces right from the start. First one was a little bit risky, open innovation. We were basically saying, give us anything and everything. We put no parameters around it. It was fully open, fully transparent. There was no privacy of names. If you wanted to be on there, you put your name to it. And that was about telling our people to be courageous, to step forward, to have trust in the environment that they were in. We had planted the seeds with a safe authorising environment, which gave them permission to speak outside of the chain of command. So we wanted them on there. It was live posting. I can still remember sitting in a one-on-one meeting with my commissioner saying, sir, are you sure? Do you understand what this is doing? And he said, if we can't trust our people, we're doing something wrong. So right from the get-go, fully open and transparent, and it's been working for us. We knew where the energy was. We now had the system. We had to capture it. We had to bring them in. Again, very deliberate approaches we took in our engagement and our communication strategy when we went out. The first one, the narrative, it was critical. We needed to go out there. We needed to prove this was for them. So we really needed to show what's in it for you. How is this different to any other system we've had before? Why should they spend their time and energy to come onto a platform and have discussions with others around the state? So that was our first thing. We wanted them to know it was a safe environment. They were welcomed by all levels of the organisation to speak freely, to have that time and space to think out loud, and to be a part of value adding to other people's ideas, to start informing future decisions for our senior executive. It was key messaging. Now that started very strong right at the start. We did a soft launch for 4 weeks in a smaller area, mainly to check the nuances of the system and ensure the user friendliness and to preload it and populate it with some ideas from other people. We then went a hard launch back in October 2017 and it was game on. 15,000 people, 15,715 had access to the system. What we saw was 124 new users weekly for the first 10 months. It just kept going up and up and up and up and up. Now we stopped in March this year, we had the Commonwealth Games and our innovation team was deployed to the Games. So we weren't going to be there moderating. And part of our pitch to our executive was we will fully moderate this system. It's okay, it's safe, we'll be there, we'll be watching it. So we had to make the decision to close the system down for a month. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, they're going to be gone. Out of sight, out of mind, they won't come back. We put up there, always transparent, hey guys, just letting you know, we'll have to close over the month of the Com Games. They're up in arms. Oh, that's crazy, why do you need to close? This is great, can't we keep it open? So we're sitting back thinking, this is great. They love it. We closed anyway because we promised the executive we would. Came back in April and bang, straight back on. Numbers straight back up.
Nice opportunity to relaunch too.
It was, actually. It was timely. Very timely. So that was critical for us in that narrative, what we were going to do with it. Moderation. Now, I've heard lots of different discussions and styles of moderation throughout today's session. And interestingly enough, I think quite comfortably we can say we do things very differently to the majority of people in the room who've spoken today. We essentially own the system in the innovation unit. We bring other moderators in if they're running a challenge for us. But our commitment to our people was that we would moderate it, and what that meant for us very early on, we would moderate on every comment. Now, what we chose to do there was we kept it conversational. Rather than give them an automation, thank you for your submission, it's been received, you will receive a response in so many days, we'd get on. Hey, great idea. I was the queen of emojis. I love the emojis. I'd be putting thumbs up, smiley faces, cool sunglasses on to get that vibe and get that interaction. So we would just value add, a little simple value add comment, and that was my full-time job. And I've heard many of you are doing this as additional work out of the goodness of your heart. I was fortunate enough to have this great job to energise people every day and to feel the energy from our people every day. So it was my commitment for an 8-hour shift, that was my role on there, moderating, talking to people, connecting people. So we had that opportunity and we were fortunate for that. What that gave me the opportunity to do was keep positive energy in the system. It was I cop. We didn't want it to turn into I whinge. Police, believe it or not, can be cynical at times. So it was very important that we put strict parameters around it. That conversation is not suitable for this environment. It's an innovation idea management platform. Please take that elsewhere. We had another system that we would refer them to. We didn't have to do that for very long. We set the parameters within our language. We re-guided conversations if they needed to be re-guided through. What we did commit to them in that moderation space is that we would actually close the loop. As I said before, we welcomed everything, which was risky. But we also said to them, not everything that comes into the system will come out of the system. There was expectation management in there, very early, right from the front. But we committed to them that if an idea comes in and it's a no, it won't be progressed, we will give you a reason why. So if not, why not was our mantra. Because too often they were putting submissions in or up their chain and they were hearing nothing. And what we found very quickly, by saying no to an idea, they might not have liked the fact that it was a no, but they accepted it and they got on with it and then they focused on the next opportunity. So we were able to create that environment. We will close the loop for you. What was also important there for us with that closing of the loop was the building of the relationships. Because they were our relationships, that we needed to build with our people, that we needed to build across our network, but most importantly, the relationships we needed to build with our content experts, our business owners. Now, we were very fortunate with all the ideas that started to come in. The data themed itself. Data, I think I need to say here, is that right?
Is that right?
So we could see very quickly there was a top 5 themes that would come through in the patterning or the subject matter of what the discussions were about. So that made it easier for us to go out and seek out those business owners, those content experts, and bring them on board, bring them into the system, and explain to them the value of the system. We had some that thought we were just giving them more work to do, but we worked with them to explain that this work was a direct work link for them from their end user. And it was work they were already getting. It just used to take 3 to 6 months to get to them, and probably 12 months to get back to the end user. We now had that immediacy, that direct link and that conduit. But what was important for us was that our subject matter experts were in with us with the closing the loop. We wanted them to go back on and close the loop. If they took an idea on and they were working through it, they would regularly update it every 2 weeks. They would go on and say, hey, the idea is now, or the form is now off of the printer. It will be available in March. So we were regularly on their back in the early days to say, keep the conversation going. We now have business owners coming to us saying, hey, can I put an idea on and ask our users what they think about it? And it's like, yeah, sure, on you go. So right early days, I used to ring up or email a business owner and say, hey, look, something on ICOP, can you have a look at it for me? I don't have to do that now. But I'd come in the morning, I see an idea there and I think, oh, okay, that might be our traffic area. I'll ring them later. By the time I get around to ringing them that day, they're already on and replying and having a conversation. So the buy-in from those people happened very, very quickly because they could see the benefit, that direct contact for them. Taking the energy to attention. So we had the energy, we had the platform, we were able to capture it. We now needed to get it to the right decision makers. Now, we were very smart in that process. Already established in our organisation, we had a number of governance committees. We didn't establish a new innovation decision-making committee. We went to existing committees that were in play. All of those committees had assistant commissioners chairing them. So the third highest level in the organisation. And they had every rank in between on those committees as well. So we very cheekily nuzzled our way into every single one of those agenda. Took a little bit of pushing at times, but what we've found by doing that, we had the direct, sitting at the table directly beside the decision maker. So that gave us value when we were out regularly talking to the front line. We were able to say to them, you tell us what we don't know, we will take that to the table sitting beside the commissioner at AC who's making the decision. We'd make it transparent on the system, hold our committees to account and say, hey, great idea on the uniform, I'll take that to the next uniform committee on the 27th of October. So I put it out there front and centre. This has been picked up, it will be taken to the uniform committee. I guarantee on the 28th, the next day after that meeting, they were on the system saying, hey, how did that go at the meeting yesterday? So that want, that desire, the anticipation was there. But that kept us to account, but it also held the business owners to account as well. We had no dramas whatsoever calling them out if we knew they were the responsible person. And we worked with them with that. They were okay with that. So by taking them directly to the attention, we got answers quickly. I would go to these meetings in the end and I'd have an assistant commissioner saying to me, has that been on ICOP? How many votes did we get? How many comments did that one get? Or someone else would raise something and they go, Kelly, can you take that and put it on ICOP? Yes, sir, sure can. So it became part of the normal everyday conversation. It wasn't just a nice thing to do every now and again or tick the innovation box. ICOP became part of regular conversations, inside and outside of the platform. I just want to touch on one thing before I go to the next slide, which I think I'll hand over shortly. Many of you were talking earlier about your engagement and how you measured your engagement. And I was really interested and intrigued to hear you say that for you, true engagement was a vote or a comment or an idea on the system. And the reason I'm intrigued by that is because for me, I see engagement slightly differently, and it's probably because of our organisation. Anecdotally, we know we have thousands of lurkers, or voyeurs, we call them. And how we know that is I'll be walking around headquarters and someone who I hardly even know will come up to me and say, hey, did you see that idea this morning on ICOP? And I'm like, oh, yeah, it's my job, I saw it, yeah. But these are people who I never would expect to be on there. And I'd go, so you are on there. We had a sergeant coming to our office for a meeting, going up in the lift, 7 floors of headquarters. Our deputy commissioner, so second from the top, jumps in the lift, looks at his name tag and said, oh, you put that great idea on ICOP. I really love that idea. Can you make a meeting with my secretary and come and speak to me? We want to speak more about that. I really love it. Like, that's unheard of, that sort of connection with that level and that high level. But 2, again, we don't see him voting or commenting, but clearly they're on there and they're reading it. So I just want to pose that for those who are not measuring the voyeurs or the lurkers, don't be surprised what value that is giving, because the conversations that creates with them outside of the system is huge. And the things that come back to us or email back to us, it's like, oh, wow, there's heaps of people reading this stuff. They might not be voting, but they're in there reading it.
The other thing I'll add to that is we are sharing knowledge on the platform as well, and there may be others doing that as well. So sometimes you want to read something, you might not necessarily feel the need to vote or comment. So from that point of view, we're trying to share content out. From a point of view of searching on the platform, you might be submitting an idea or looking for information, then you'll see a pop-up, and we call them, and Kelly does them all the time, as a did you know. So this is a way of us connecting some of our headquarters activities, our back office activities directly with our frontline officers, because sometimes it might take a little bit of time for big projects or major projects for that communications to get out to them. But also their priority is the community, their priority is their job on a day-to-day basis. So that pool strategy works for us, and how the platform works for us in terms of that pooled strategy for information. I think you've got one more.
One more, yeah. So where are we today? So 12 months on, we have a very healthy, positive environment of collaborators who are sharing ideas, who are supporting one another, and who are solving problems together on the system. There's many ideas that don't even have to come out because they're solving it together on there. We'll go straight to the great wins, that one, thank you. We're sitting in a space now, we've had 37 wins come through the system in the first 12 months. We've got another 51 ideas sitting in our already happening stage of our funnel, which means that there's a business owner actively working on production, development, rewrite, rework on that particular idea. So we're sitting in a space where we're having some great success come through. Now, some of those ideas haven't been massive, Some of them have been. Some of them are going to be. So a few quick examples that we might have there, and we've certainly tapped in that simpler, better, safer space. We've had something as simple as a form redevelopment or a policy, streamlined a policy process that had 15 steps in it, down to 10 steps. We've had a situation where we've now been able to connect our officers to a third communication channel to our members of the community, giving them the authority to email from their email account. An SMS message will go to members of the community, updating them on their investigation or their complaint, their matter. So prior to that, they only had face-to-face contact or driving around to the house, leaving a calling card. And that took time. We've had some amazing life-saving, 3 incidents where we've had a life-saving opportunity. 6 months ago, we didn't have tactical first aid kits in our car. We had the standard first aid kit. A tactical first aid kit will include a tourniquet and a chest seal for if there was a gunshot wound. And those kits are stored in the glove box of our vehicles. Everyone now knows where they are stored. We've had 3 incidents since the introduction of those, 1 for an officer and 2 for 2 members of the public that required a tourniquet, and ambulance or paramedics have advised that saved their lives. So that's fantastic. That's a great result for us. It doesn't get any better than that.
Do you get goosebumps? I get goosebumps.
I could go on all day,
Yeah.
but time's up and it's Charmaine's turn.
She's got to share a little bit.
Yeah.
But so from an organisational point of view, this is a capability model that we use. So from a change point of view, we like to look at our organisation. This was preparing our environment for the platform because as you well know, it's not just about the tool, it's about the environment you create for your people. But to give you a little bit more flavour around things that have been happening. So from a leadership point of view, Kelly's given you two examples, leadership in action. And we are so fortunate that our leadership is really genuine in wanting to connect to our frontline. We actually have them on the platform, some of them on the platform communicating with frontline officers. Now, and that's another thing that gives me goosebumps as well. From a point of view of the chain of command, and that's a very big shift if you can imagine from a command and control, and I didn't know how I was going to go as an unsworn or a civilian person coming into a police service. It is a big shift. I'm comfortable as a member of the community that when there is an incident, they know who's in charge. They have processes and they are very skilled at what they do. But I want to give them a space where they can collaborate, where they can actually have conversation in a more conversational way. And we can see that on the platform. From a point of view of mindsets, we're building trust, ultimately. So this is about trust of our people with us as a conduit for them. It's trust also between our people and our leadership. And that's something that's very hard to measure. From a point of view of capability, we're connecting people right across the great state of Queensland, which I know you're all going to be visiting. So this is about people that might not have connected really because of where they are, where they're located and what they do. That also brings different perspectives and mindsets on ideas, which is a lot of these things are the foundations of an innovative and a collaborative workforce, part of our vision. From a point of view of the system, if we're talking about that, at this point in time, we've got 40% of our workforce who have opted in and are on our platform. And we're at 6,300 members at this point in time. So we're comfortable at this point around the engagement and that we're starting to get the right kind of conversation on that platform. In terms of benefits analysis, we're 1 year on now. So we're now in the throes of looking at, and we do a result map initially, which links to our simpler, better, safer. Around measures of success, things that we thought would happen within our tool, and we're going to, it's watch this space, so there's not enough time for us to talk about all of our measurement around the system, but you've seen some of the examples that we've said today. One of the things that I would like to mention though is in pitching for the tool originally, we used some measures that were already in, this is one of the things we love to do, use what is already there to help us on our way. There was an employee survey called Working for Queensland. And that's run externally. We don't even run that ourselves, by the Queensland State Government. Within that set of questions that go to our employees, there are what's termed innovation enablers, and we pitched basically on some of those measures. We wanted to positively influence those measures for the service. And hot off the press, last week, we've seen an increase over the past year across the board for innovation enablers of 3%. And it might not sound like a lot, but it is something that they've told us is significant. For one of the actual questions, it's around a 5% positive increase. That's our people telling us that things are changing and that they can see things are happening. And we're one of the programs that are responsible for trying to affect change on that measures. We're really comfortable and happy with the outcome from that point of view. So in looking back on the last 12 months, it's been an interesting time for Kel and I and the rest of our team back in Australia to support ICOP, to support the people and to support our leadership. One of the big things for us that we've learned is around energy and looking for energy and where that energy is, how that relates to engagement, and how attention is a very important asset that you can use to drive further engagement on your platform. So we've done a little video in-house. I'm going to dim the lights to get the mood right from a point of view and get your attention. So we'll take questions after. We like our pictures down under.
Oh.
Thank you.
So,
Great. So we have time for two questions.
two questions.
Yes. Here.
Yeah, I was just wondering if this success has been broadcast to other police departments around the world, perhaps here.
Once we finish, we'll be more comfortable once we do our measurement and analysis at this point. Like, the stories do speak for themselves. So that's from my point of view. I think there's some great stories, even from all the other presenters today. There's some fantastic. Are we really communicating this well to other people so that they can be aware of the great stuff that's happening out there right across the world? So
Western Australia Police use the platform as well, and we really tapped into their knowledge for months on end. And we only just before I came here, I spoke to Lise and said, hey, we're coming over to the conference, anything you want us to ask, pick up and take back. So we're sharing heavily with them. And my understanding, Tim, you might be able to help me here, New York Police Department, we're using the platform externally focused, which is very interesting and a great opportunity that we're still in the crawling stage. We want to just make sure we get steady on our feet before we launch into something like that, but it gives great opportunity for the future where we could go further with it.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much. What a great presentation. Kelly Wagner-Grohl from Credit Union of Colorado. And my question to you is, the example you gave, I think the tool you've demonstrated works, but the people behind it, the decision makers, you mentioned like removing a policy from 15 steps down to lower steps or influence in decision making. How have you worked through the accountability of that? So we can have great ideas, but there's a plethora of lists of to-dos that any of us have at one time. How are you influencing the leadership to get through those more nimbly or more quickly so that your crowd doesn't get lost or fatigued by lack of change?
Yep, good question. Two things I'll give you here with that one. So all the business owners that we've built relationships with, we've established processes with them because we were very mindful of burdening them, which was their mindset initially, whereas really the work that we give them, they would get eventually. So our process is we will go to their manager to say, this has come through the system. Can you have someone in your team to review it to see whether it's viable and doable and whether or not you have capacity to do it? So we really lean on them. What they have found though is by helping us out, and a lot of our wins early have been very quick wins. Low-lying fruit that we've gone, this is a simple fix. It's giving them pain every day, let's fix it. And they've seen the opportunity in that because what we do for the business owners is once it's a win, we'll say, hey, great win. Thanks to the excellent work done by the Operational Improvement Unit team, we now have a simplified process. So they've never had kudos before, the business owner. So I know it's terrible. They're our engine room behind the scenes. So not only do we call out the idea generator in the first instance, thanks to your great idea and the great work done by this team, we now have a better result. So that's very valuable in that space. We've had business owners come to us and say, hey, Kel, we've got 16 work packages to do for the next 12 months. We've got money to do with it. This is how my project team has prioritised it, 1 to 16. Can you throw it on the system? Ask them to give us their top 5 votes, and we just want to see if we're on the money. So we did that with our Q-Lite, which is our iPads that our officers use out in the street. They had 16 new work packages to do. 2 weeks we opened it up for. They got 2,500 votes. All they were asked to do was to vote 5 times. It completely reprioritised the order. What the project team had as, I think it was sitting at number 3, they received negative 67 votes. Frontline didn't want it at all, didn't think it was important or needed, and they've gone, wow, we didn't realise that. So that really highlighted to them the value of working on what's important to the people, what's needed the most. So it's really been impressive that business owners now, and kudos to our team, we've consistently worked hard to build that relationship. And we've hit brick wall after brick wall. You know, the comments of, oh, we're only doing this out of the goodness of our heart and we don't have to do this. Oh, well, yeah, you do, but I can go another way if we need to, but let's work here. They're now seeing it. So it hasn't been an easy ride. There's been lots of hurdles along the way, but with consistency of messaging and just showing them the results and benefits, it's worked for us, for them, and most importantly, our people, our end users of these products.
And I'd only add to that, so we've cut through some of that governance. Well, rather than creating new, we're using what's already there. So we're bringing evidence to a decision body who already has decision-making authority for things. So if you can imagine not writing a report, not writing a business, well, you have to write business cases, but you know what I mean, to say, look, there's evidence for something to even start to progress, we've kind of cut that. And that's why I like the model from a point of view of using what's already in your organisation, because then it starts to systematise some of the things you need to do to make it part of the work you need to do. So I'm not sure if that might be part of the answer to your question as well. Going to those decision makers, that attention is an asset you can use.
And some things are simple. They're so simple to fix, but they have such a massive impact. Can I give one more story? One more example? We released statewide a new holster for our officers. It was a safer holster. It had a better locking mechanism, but it was not sitting on their backs. We were getting a lot of back injuries. The holster sat down low. So their pants that they wear, their cargo pants, had 2 big deep pockets on the side. They would put their iPad in one, their notebook in another, torch down the side of another. So their hands were free. Safety for them. The holster took away the use of one of the pockets. Didn't think about it, didn't realise. So an idea went on to say, hey, look, we can't use our pocket anymore, but we could if you put a zipper down the side of our pocket. Taylor said, done, too easy. Next batchman of pants came in with the zipper down the pocket. Now people think, a zipper? For 12,500 people, that zipper meant the world for them, and it was their safety that meant as well. So, but it was fixed, simple, easy like that.
So building trust, delivering, and then you can start to maybe go higher than incremental, have different kind of conversations with your workforce, because you've got to get rid of that noise. Anyway, we'll stop talking.
Thank you.
Fabulous. Thank you.